The weapon involved in this incident was a Glock semi-automatic .380 caliber pistol that was stolen in a burglary of a vehicle that occurred in Austin back in 2016. There's been a lot of questions that have come up about how could an individual that was handcuffed access a weapon and take their own life in a police car. I want to again confirm that Mr. Anam was handcuffed. He was handcuffed behind his back per APD policy, and he was seated in the back seat of the patrol car and seat belted in. So he was handcuffed behind his back. He was not handcuffed in front. He was handcuffed behind his back. What he was able to do, going back to the beginning of the incident when they transported him from the mall, it's all on video. Our cars record while our officers are transporting individuals that they have in their custody. Again, as reported, as they got close to the downtown area, he began having conversations with Officer Wall about suicide and his concerns that he was suicidal. Officer Wall again let him know that there would be services and counselors available to him at the jail, at which point he made a comment somewhat to the effect of he wasn't sure if he could wait that long. Our officer then inquired if he had the means available, and again, what you can see on video is Mr. Anam is able to pull his arms. Again, you can lean forward in the seat. He is able to pull his arms around the right side of his body, almost to the front of his body, and lay down in the back seat, and therefore he is able to place his head in front of the muzzle of that weapon that he had. So I know there's been a lot of questions of how can you accomplish that when you're handcuffed. And again, this is all on video. He was handcuffed behind his back. He leaned over in the seat and he was able to pull his arms around to the front once he produced that weapon. I know there are a lot of questions about whether we had searched Mr. Anam. And although I have a preliminary belief based on where we are at in the investigation at this time, we have not yet interviewed Officer Wall, and it would be inappropriate for me to put any information out at this time because I do not want to influence his statement. So, but we do have a belief on whether or not he was searched, and then the adequacy of that search is what we will have to look at if as we go through this investigation. Once Mr. Anam had the conversations with Officer Wall immediately put out over the radio that the subject had a gun and exited his vehicle, as did Officer Ricker. And for several minutes, they were putting together a tactical plan. The SWAT team had been called, and they were working to keep the neighborhood safe. This was in the downtown 6th Street area. We had people that were walking. We had a bar that was in the background with glass windows. There were football games going on. It was crowded, so they were trying to take care of the safety of the patrons as well as focus on the incident that was occurring with Mr. Anam inside the police vehicle. As I stated on Sunday, this took approximately 5 to 6 minutes with Mr. Anam in the back seat. Again with the pistol, at which point he placed his head in front of the muzzle and fired one shot. Again, this is all captured on video. Our officers put together a tactical plan to be able to safely approach the vehicle. They removed Mr. Anam and immediately began performing life-saving measures and asked for EMS to step up their response, realizing the severity of his injuries.